Beautiful. Welcome in, everyone. My name is Shannon Crowder, and I am currently operating under Holistic Vibes. I've turned my yoga studio into an online platform where a bunch of my lovely vibe tribe gets together and we share energy. We share some space and we share some time to connect. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this day. Yoga is very much a space to connect in with your body, your mind, and your soul. So as we transition in this space together, let's close our eyes over softly. And if that feels a little bit too enclosed or claustrophobic, just having the eyes shaded over. This is a beautiful space, my friends, to really connect in and take control of your feelings, of your thoughts. And we do this with using the breath. So in times of discomfort, worry, grief, close your eyes with me and take a long, beautiful breath in through the nose and release it softly out through the nose with lots of control and just allowing the body to melt down, to sink into the mat. Let's continue this breath together. Taking the inhale slow and steady through the nasal passage. And then allowing it to travel out of the nasal passage. If at any point in time you'd like to put a sigh within that breath, feel free to do so. The body loves a sigh. I came to yoga in my early 20s when I was full of worry, anxiety, and despair, not knowing how to control my thoughts and feelings. And I found when I landed here within my breath and within my body, I was able to take control of that space and to feel completely within myself, for myself. Let's spend just a few more breaths here before we begin our active practice of stretch, length, and strength. If any time your thoughts begin to take over, allow yourself to weave in a positive affirmation, an I am statement that takes you back to your magnificent self. I am powerful. I am strong. I am enough. Let's bring our hands to our heart in a prayer pose and allow the chin to softly melt as you bow down to your practice. As you pay homage and gratitude for this space, just to flow with your body. And we'll take this feeling with us as we move together to lengthen, strengthen, and stretch. Intertwining fingers, my friends. Let's press them all the way out, nice and long out of those shoulders. And take a big, big breath in the body. And this time, sigh it out. One more time, just like that. Don't worry about who can hear you. Big breath in. And release. Drop the chin deep into the chest, just taking the depth of that stretch a little deeper across the shoulders. And welcoming the arms long and strong towards the ceiling as you pull the rib cage softly away from those hips. Draw the belly button into the spine, elongate out of that back. Let's release left hand into the floor and take right past the ear, getting a big, beautiful stretch through the right side body. Being sure to really ground down through that right buttocks muscle. We'll hold it here for one more breath. And welcome both arms back to your ceiling as right hand melts down, left hand right over top of that ear. Big stretch, my friends. Ground down through the left glute. Reach long through right. One more breath. Inhaling both arms back to the ceiling. Exhale, float those hands down in front of you, being gentle with that back body. Sigh it out here. Both glutes are fastened to the ground. The tailbone is melting. Well, you're directing the breath long and strong up through the spinal column, right out through the crown of the head. We'll spend one more breath here before we roll this body of ours up and take it in some shoulder rolls, releasing all the tension here. It stores up through your day. So pause whenever you can and just do one of these little shoulder rolls as you're meandering through the path of your day. We're going to take one more and then bring those hands behind us. Anchor into the palms and rise open through the chest, keeping the neck extended out of the shoulders and not allowing it to hang back. Pull those shoulder blades together. Feel the chest shine. One more breath here. We'll walk our hands back up to our seated position. Place the palms onto the knees and start to create circular patterns using our torso to stir our nice, beautiful stew of our body. Think about pressing the chest forward on an inhale, and as you round, draw belly button in and release the breath. These can be nice and slow and shallow, or nice and deep. Feel the space for yourself in your body. Waken up those hips. Waken up the Kundalini energy within the body. We'll go one more time around, then we'll pause with our chest low into the lap. As we come through here, we're just going to side at first, lengthening out of the knee, pressing the body, feeling those obliques, and then let's take a spin in our atypical pattern. So going around in the opposite direction. There's no rush. This is going to feel a little bit more awkward in the opposite way. Take your time, fall into your own unique, precious vibe. We're rolling around 2 more times, friends. Here's one. On this last time, coming again back into your center, low within the chest. Take those arms out again. Fingertips are like spiders away from the body. Big breath in and sinking. Feeling into those hips, let's walk our hands out to the right side of our mat or our knees and just reach. Then taking your time to come through center as we meander over to the other side. And release. Beautiful job. Back into center with me. As you arrive here, once again, picking up those shoulders, one big shoulder roll to bring those shoulders back down. Let's release the palms away from the body and pick up the energy coming into our seated sun breath. Exhale through. On the inhale, pick up the energy, open up the heart. Exhale, melt it down. Last one, reach up, look up. As you bring the hands into the heart, allow the chin to mount and softly feel back into the body and the gentle stir of the energy we are creating. Let's come on to hands and knees. Table pose, so it looks and feels exactly how it sounds. We become a table within our body, right and left hand, right under the shoulders and knees under the hips. So if you're worried about your alignment, just take your hand and sort of trace it down. I was doing yoga for years and found that I was a little bit more like this, thinking that I was in my table. So feel that space for yourself. And let's just start by taking the right foot and just extending that leg long. You're curling into the heel and you're feeling already a beautiful stretch for that right leg. Good morning to all those muscle groups. Taking a big breath in here. Beautiful job. Welcome that right leg back into its space and go ahead, other side, left foot down, curling under, waking up that left leg. You're going to use a little bit of force into the palms to get just a little deeper into that leg. And then welcome it back in. As we arrive here, curl over your toes and just open your knees as wide as the mat and bring your shoelace side of the foot down to the mat. Walk the arms out and ground the forehead into the ground. Coming into our first child's pose. A very grounding posture within yoga. This is very soothing. By pressing onto the vagus nerve within the forehead, we are activating the parasympathetic nervous system. And our body, mind, and soul are reaping benefits. Let's take another breath here and sigh it out. Then we'll lift the face and look towards the front space of our mat. Press the forearms forward and extend your body so you come down onto the belly. And then we'll press forcefully out of these forearms, lifting the chest and allowing it to curl forward, like you're trying to share your light. Pressing down to the shoelace side of the foot. Feel the extension from the toes to the belly button. And feel that rise all the way to the chin. Sphinx Cobra. One more breath right here. As you exhale, bring the heart down to the mat and take the right arm all the way out. So it extends at the shoulder. And from here, bring the left hand into the armpit and pull it into the side. We're gonna roll to the right side. Looks like this, just rolling the body and extending that right arm. Bringing the legs in alignment with the crown, the spine. Getting a beautiful stretch here for the right shoulder, forearm, and part of the chest muscle here as well. Come back to belly when you're ready and collect that right hand back in. Press those forearms. Let's come back to our Sphinx Cobra. Opening through that chest. Pull from the belly into the throat. We're here for a breath. Then we'll melt down and come into the left side. Left arm out, long and strong, away from your body. Right hand comes in towards the armpit and then rolling that body to the left side. Bringing those feet in alignment with the spine. And your head can hover like mine, or it can rest down, depending on what feels comfortable for your neck. Let's take another breath here. Nice, beautiful stretch. Then roll back to our bellies. Collect that left hand. Press down into forearms, coming back into a Sphinx Cobra. Let's take a big breath right into the small of the back. Then melt the heart softly. Drag these hands right beside the armpits. We're going to pick up through the heart and roll it back into that child's pose. A nice way to take out that back bend and that gentle work within our Sphinx Cobra. Come back to the breath here. Big breath in. Releasing it out. Beautiful job. Picking up the face with me, my friends. Look towards the front of the mat and bring the body forward. We're going to walk the knees so we're back into our table pose. Hands are underneath the shoulders. We're going to take the left leg and it's simply going to come out like a kickstand, and taking the right leg long so we can fly this right arm open and just stack it over top of the left supporting arm. We are transitioning to pressing our hips towards the right side of the mat, just feeling this beautiful stretch. To intensify or get a little more juicy in the body, take the right arm past the ear. So now you're extending one beautiful line from the tips of those toes to the tips of the fingers. Pull that arm to ceiling and allow it to float past the body, coming into big, huge sunshine arms or moon, whatever you seem to resonate with today. We're here for 2. And last one, take that arm to the ceiling. And if you feel a little juicy and want just a little bit more magic, take that right toe off and feel this beautiful strength, stretch, and lengthening. Tips of toes melt down, bring right hand down into the mat. Transition into that left knee and pick up this right leg. We're going to circle it out to the side, out of the hip, melting down through the core of the foot. Square up the body here. And then once again, that right arm flies open towards the ceiling. Now feel into this posture. You're lengthening, you're pressing, you're extending. And this time, let's get right into that shoulder girdle and start to make those circular patterns towards our ceiling, like you are stirring some energetic soup just above you. And again, these can be as shallow or as vast as you feel ready in your body. One more breath. Swirl that down into the mat. Place it back under the shoulder.
pull the belly button in and bring this leg back nice and long out of the hip. Draw belly button into the spine and left arm. Strengthening right here through the core. For 3, 2, left hand down, knee comes in. And just allow yourself to become a little like a snake up the spine, releasing any tension in the hips. Now this side, left side, you can see the back side of me, the way that it looks from a different angle. Let's come up and bring that right foot out to the side, my friends. Left leg down, nice and long. Draw left arm to ceiling. Feel the stretch. Anchor through the pinky side of your left toes. And then when you're ready, draw that arm around for 5, 4. Be purposeful with the movement. Be in alignment with the breath. Last one, taking it up towards ceiling. And then right past the ear, getting the ultimate stretch within this posture. Beautiful job. Stay here. Or if you have a little bit more juice in your left side, reach left arm to ceiling and left toes come off the mat. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3. Left hand comes down. Cycle this left leg out to the side, coming back into that nice open space of your hip. Square up the body here, anchor through the sole, and then when you're ready, uncurl left arm back to the ceiling. Let's create those tiny circles again, soft and slow. And just notice if it feels different in one arm, one shoulder. I have a little less mobility in the shoulder. So I know that I just have to be here and be patient with my body, allowing it to feel through its own flow. We're here for 2. Last one, bring that hand down into the mat. Take that left leg off and scoot it long out of the hip. Now be mindful not to fall into the limbs, but rather rise up. Take control within the core and remove right arm off the mat. If this is too much for you, simply put that right arm down and just feel the length for another 3, 2. Right hand comes down, left knee comes down, shifting through the hips here, my friends. Morning stretches, beautiful afternoon pause, wherever this is fitting into your day. Just enjoying this movement, soft and nurturing. Let's roll over the toes here. We are going to make it to a downward dog to really feel the ultimate stretch. Big breath in. On the exhale, press those hips to ceiling. Reach out of the arms. Don't feel like those heels have to hit the ground. In fact, just allow them to guide their way down as much as possible. Feel as if you are turning that tailbone towards the ceiling and pressing the hamstrings softly towards the back of the mat. Let the head and heart melt and draw the torso back towards the thighs for a big stretch in the shoulders. Ideally, the ears are in line with the biceps and you're in this nice little triangle figure. Let's pedal here. So just bending through the knees, opening up those legs a little deeper. We're here for another 3, 2. And last one, coming back into this nice solid downward dog. And then walking the feet gently towards the front of the mat, coming into our forward folds. I'm going to walk straight up to the front, then allow my body to waterfall down towards the mat. Head, heart, shoulders, everything melts. Gentle bend in the knees, protecting that lower back. Don't worry about coming as low or as deep as I am. If you're up here, that's fine. Feel that space. If at any time it becomes too much for the lower back, use the hands on the shins and take a little bit of the stress off. Let's be here for another breath before we all gather with the hands on the shins and lengthen into that half back. In your half back, draw the shoulders away from the ears and press nice and long out of those feet. My gaze is softly forward. And then on the exhale, I'll melt all the way back down, letting head, heart, shoulders melt. 2 more times. Inhale comes up, half back, shoulders pull back from the ears. Exhale melts it down. On this 3rd time, stay with me here in the half back and let the exhale escape. Inhale, roll the body up. We're going to pick up the arms together and reach them towards the ceiling. As you do, bring the hands back into heart, chin into chest. Spending a moment here, once again, feeling the body, the energy shift, coming back to breath and weaving in a positive I am statement through this space. One more breath here. On your next available exhale, drop the hands towards the hips and come into our mountain pose. In mountain, we're softly tucking that tailbone under, pulling the belly in, opening the shoulders, feeling grounded. Another wonderful grounding posture within our yoga practice. Let's take some movement in here. Inhale, arms to ceiling. Exhale, release. We have 2 more just like that. Easy breezy. Inhale, reach up, open. Exhale, release. Last one like this. Reach up, open. Pause at the top. And release down. Now this time, bending through the knees. Angel wings behind you. Looks like this. Inhale, open, reach. Exhale, angel wings. Last one, reach up. Angel wings behind you. Now, as you come up to ceiling, let's come into the tips of our toes, the ball of our feet, lifting out of those heels. Little balance here this morning. And then gently allow your love light energy to expand as those arms open softly. Big breath in here. Melt down to the heels, bring the hands back to the heart. Let's take a breath right here to get nice and deep. Now let's come into a very typical and popular yoga posture called tree pose. We have a couple options here. If you're new to yoga, we're going to keep this foot below the knee joint. And this is just as much of tree pose as the most advanced version. You can even have your toes on the ground if you're working on your balance. If you've got a little bit more juice into you and you've been to yoga, you know how this feels, go ahead and lift the foot above the knee and track this knee open. This is a beautiful place to start. You'll notice now I'm not looking at the camera, but rather just down my face, staying in this posture. Feeling this left leg hold me here in space. Let's open up our tree, my friends. A big, beautiful summertime tree. Arms open, challenging your balance just a little bit more. For 3, 2, keep tracking that right knee open. And 1, let's bring it all back down. As you land into the right sole of the foot, come into the left ball and just roll at the ankle. Beautiful job. The other side, when you're ready, come very present through that right leg, welcoming that foot wherever feels good for you. I like to show off and bring it up higher, but sometimes that challenges my balance. Drawing the left knee out. Beautiful job. There we are. Holding in the space. Now the trick with balance poses is you're just looking softly at something within the room that's not moving. I often say in a live presentation, it's not the teacher, so look at something else and just hold your gaze steady. Trust your body. Open the arms. Tree. Vriksasana. One more breath. We're taking it down, coming into the left sole of the foot as we come into the ball of the right, roll through the ankle. Ah, beautiful job. Releasing palms, turning for me to come back to the top. We're going to take this right sole of the foot off the mat and just step it back so the tips of the toes are behind you, and then just melt that down. Nice and long through the front space of the leg. Open up the shoulders. Just stretch out of those legs. Stretch out of the hip flexor. And then pull that space back and release. Other side when you're ready. Left foot comes back. Pressing down. Now remember, in these sort of standing poses that you're meant to be on a ladder or a railroad tie and not a balance beam. So make room for the hips. Feel nice and grounded here. Let's press forward again. Exhale, release. Inhale. Release. Inhale. Release. We're going down. It's called swan dive. You open up the arms, draw belly button in, sit that buttocks back, and then waterfall down towards the mat. From here, my friends, step back with your left leg and place the knee onto the floor. When you arrive here, this may be enough of a stretch or lunge for you. For me, it's not, so I'm going to pick up my right foot, just bring it a little bit more forward so I have a nice slide out through this back leg. Pressing the fingertips or the palms into the mat. What you're focused on here is getting a nice stretch to that left hip flexor, and then also lengthening through your spine all the way through the crown. Big breath in here. This might feel really juicy in those hips this morning. All right, we're bringing it into hamstring. This can sometimes be quite juicy, so be mindful. This is what it looks like. We're going to pull back into the heel, walk the hands, either keeping them long like I have, or if that's not supportive to your body, bringing them right beside the hips. Your chest is raised, your gaze is forward. You're lengthening out of this back right leg. You're here for a few more breaths, so just sink into it. Remember your I am statements, because you are. Then cycle this forward with me. Take another lunge here. Beautiful. Stepping back through this right leg. Let's pick up the left leg and same thing, just walk it forward. You can even use your hand if you need a little extra. And again, you may land right here, and this is enough of a stretch for your left hip flexor. For me, I like a little bit more. So now this time, I'm going to pick up my right knee and just sail it back a little more. So I have more of a slide going on here. The toes can be either rolled under, or you can put the shoelace side of the foot down. This is more of a stretch with the shoelace side of the foot down, as you can imagine. And just feel like you're dragging those hips forward. Sometimes like to say it's like you have this walking dead leg behind you. Hold here, lengthen through that spinal column, then draw belly button in. We're coming into this half split. That's right, half split on this side. And again, either keeping the hands long or being a little more supportive here. Some key things with this posture is you do want to try to drag the toes in towards the knee. It's just a little bit more engaged, a little more juicy, if you will. But work up to that if that's not comfortable. We're all at different spaces in our lengthen, strengthen, and stretch. Let's roll this forward, get nice and juicy into that beautiful stretch again. Now, for some of us, this can be really juicy on the knees. So if you're feeling that, there's a couple things that you can do to help you with that space. You can get a thicker mat. You can bring a towel to class to put underneath, or you can simply roll over the mat and place them there as well. Let's draw this left leg back. Lace it back underneath the hip into our table pose. And then once again, just shifting the energy of the spine. As we come back into a nice static or stable position, we're going to come into a few rounds of cat and cow. In cow, we like to drop the belly. So come down low with the belly, allow to sink into the shoulder joints here. Turn that tailbone up like you are trying to face towards the sky. Now pick up the chest, lengthen out of belly button, and just feel into this space. For me, the imagery of a cow really helps. Nice low bellies, high hips, beautiful chest, the head reaching. And then we'll transition into cat, which is a counter pose for this posture, using the exhale. Big breath in first, my friends. Exhale, draw belly button in. Now curling the back body like a big, beautiful cat on Hallows Eve. Feeling the space of this posture. Now, if you will, let's flow together with our breath. The inhale comes forward, back to cow. Exhale, round. Flow 3 more times with your own breath. Some key things to note about cow and cat. It's mostly the arms. You want the elbow joints pointing out to either sides of your mat so that the eyes or creases of the elbows are facing in. And that's simply going to prevent you from hyperextending and allows you to gain strength in those arms. Here's the last one for me. I may have done more than I said, who knows? Now lengthen out, coming back into the table pose. From here, I'm gonna roll back and bring my hands towards my knees and shift my weight into the ball of my feet. Now, if this is not comfortable for your knees, you have knee problems or challenges, don't follow me. I like this one, just another little squeeze through those feet. It brings a lot of stretch to the front of my legs, but also as I bring hands into my heart, it allows my core to also be reminded it is so much part of my practice. Widen through your shoulders, take your gaze softly once again, just in front of you. We're here for 3, 2. Hands come down onto the mat, walk them out, and let's bring those feet over to one side. Find a hip, whichever one worked for you is okay. Take those legs out in front of you, shift your body weight so you're almost all the way, or so that you're at least halfway down the mat, so you won't hurt yourself. Grab hold of the back of the legs and just extend here, engaging the core and the lower back. We're just here for a couple of breaths. Once again, engaging our core within our practice. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together. As we do, grab hold of the feet and bring the hearts down low. Now, my feet are really far away from my groin. To make this more effective, I'm going to now ask them to come a little bit deeper in towards my groin as I fan those knees out. Again, what you want to think about here is allowing the heart to be the anchor in your posture. So if you look through our practice, you'll notice that you'll never see me trying to reach with the head, but rather with the heart. So strengthen and lengthen out the body and let the heart melt. Even if you're all the way up here, let's try not to do this, but rather right here. Beautiful job, friends. Close those legs. Take the feet mat width apart. Bring the palms behind you and just windshield wiper those hips. Not too much instruction here. Just let it go. Release. Go slow or as vigorously as you want here. Remembering that the teacher is always the guide. You, my friend, are the captain. Control, right? I got that control back. Let's roll back into the forearms, rolling through. Again, this is going to feel really juicy now through the small of the back. Really great for those who have back problems. And then roll all the way down onto the floor with me. Welcome the knees into the chest. You're going to give them a nice hug here and pull them deep into the chest. Roll softly from side to side. As you're releasing, let the head and neck go as well. Such a wonderful place to just be releasing and grounding, melting. Let's take each leg all the way out, letting the sole of the foot, the heel of foot rest at either corner of the mat. And then just let the arms fan out away from your body. Shavasana, often one of the most favorite poses of yoga, but also a space to come back to the breath, to feel the energy of the body after the practice, and to set an intention on how you want to feel this day.
Let's take a big breath in and come back to the sigh here, releasing the breath out of the body. Anchoring in your intention, anchoring in your I am statement, and anchoring this feeling in the body, mind, and soul space. It is your superpower, my friends. It is yours and yours alone. When you're ready, move fingers and toes. Stretch if you need to, or simply come over to your favorite side. Once you feel grounded and in your own time, let's pick up the body and come back to a seated position that supports you now after your practice, so we can close this session together with gratitude and love. Let's bring our hands within to our heart once again. And as you drop this chin down into the self, truly bow to the beautiful light that has shown up here today to take care of the body, to release the mind and experience the soul. Always remember, you are stardust and you are meant to shine, shine, shine. In closing, the yogis use a term called namaste, and it simply means the light in me honors, sees the light in you. So namaste, my dear friends. Namaste. Beautiful job. Thank you so much for joining me this session, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Take care.